So DI. Yeah. So we'll just write the dir of the package name and it will list down all the attributes present. If I want to take help, right? So any function, let's say I want to use numpy dot, let's say mean function I want to use, and I don't know how to use it, just a question mark. Question mark will help me to take help. It will give the complete description of that function, how to use it with examples. So all of these things we have seen, and then we have discussed about, after all of these things, we discussed about Python. So introduction to Python. So I think Python is just a quick summary because for many of you it's a new class and you missed the last class. This is just what we have seen, very basics. Python introduction, first we have discussed. Python is a high level, open source, interpreter based programming language, right? So high level in the sense user friendly, right? The code that we are writing is very much easy to understand. A lot of features are there which makes it popular. One of the feature is easy to learn and a lot of library support. Then we have discussed about variable. Have we discussed about variable? Yes. We discussed about variable last time. What is a variable? Variable is a storage or container which stores value. How to define a variable? Python is dynamically typed, right? So what do you mean by dynamically typed? What do you mean by dynamically typed? Dynamically typed means you as a user no need to type the data type. For example, I'm assigning a value a equals to 20, I will write. I will not write int a equals to 20. The interpreter will automatically understand the data type. So that is how we will define a variable. Until here we have discussed. Any questions till here? We are all good till here? Everyone has installed Python, everything is done, right? From your side?
Yes, Susmita.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if it is a no, then I will suggest you please go through the recordings and complete the installation part, right? And I have not received the drive link. Once I receive, maybe today I will check with ma'am, she will give me, or maybe we will form a drive for you, for your batch. In that drive, lot of things I will upload, like the books, the materials, the notes, some of the resources, Python resources where you can learn Python, some of the SQL resources, right? Other recordings, everything I will upload, and daily class recording will also be uploaded in the same drive, right? One suggestion is, if you don't have any questions, if all your doubts are clear, and one more thing, I think ma'am was saying whoever is new or kind of non-coding background, they had been given access to the previous batch recording. Entire folder has been given. Once their enrollment is confirmed, entire folder of previous batch has been given. So what you can do is, before you join the class, you can see previous batch recording and pre-prepare yourself, right? 30-40% you understand from the previous batch recording and join the class. In the class, you will 100% understand. People who are from coding background, I think for them it is not needed. You can easily understand. Okay. So what is the agenda for today's class, right? What we're going to discuss? We're going to discuss, the first thing is we're going to discuss how to take inputs from keyboard, right? Inputs from keyboard in the sense?
User input.
Yes, input from keyboard, right? And confirm your enrollment as soon as possible so that we will move little faster, right? So if the enrollment is not confirmed for many students, we will go slow only. Once the batch is formed, we'll freeze this demo link and we'll go with the real GoToMeeting link, which will remain same for this entire course. And we will move a little faster. Yeah.
ma'am, now this is a demo link, demo lecture again.
Okay, so if you are today is a new class, Nitin, I think you missed the last class. So please wait. After the class is over, I will talk with you. All the people who joined today newly, please wait. We'll discuss at the end of the class. Input from keyboard we will discuss. After we discuss input from keyboard, we'll be discussing while loop, right? And then we will be discussing for loop, right? And then we will be discussing if else. I think last time we have discussed if else. So I will give you a quick summary again, if else. And then we will be discussing other concepts like mostly the functions we will discuss, right? Python function. And then we will discuss lambda expression. So this is the takeaway for today's class. And then I will give you a quiz, right? So every class, last 10 minutes or last 5 minutes will be quiz. Very simple questions, one or two, just one program you have to write. The intention is to make you practice every day. So lambda function is something, but what after you understand this, I'll give you a small question which you can do. Okay, but let us start one by one. Input from keyboard, while loop, for loop, function, lambda function, right? Lambda expression, basically. This is the takeaway. Now coming to our notebook. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start a new notebook. Okay. I think what is your last? It's good if I take the last, your notebook, right? What we have used. Not this one. One second, let me open your classroom. Is this the one that we have used last time? This is the one, right? So this is what we have seen in the last class. How to install, and then help and variable we have discussed. If else statement we have discussed. Okay, so we will be discussing input from keyboard. Right? Or maybe first what we will discuss is we will discuss while loop, because we started loop, right? So input to keyboard. So what do you mean by input to keyboard? Right? So sorry, not input to keyboard. We'll be discussing while loop first. So any idea about while loop? Can anybody tell me the logic of while loop if you know? What is a while loop? Any idea about while loop?
Yeah, actually, it is like an infinite loop until the condition is satisfied.
Yes.
Iterative loop.
Until and unless the condition is false, the loop will keep executing. Until and unless the condition is false, the loop will keep executing. When the condition will be false, the loop will stop, or it will come out of the loop. Let me give you one example. I am defining a variable called counter and assigning a value, let's say 30, or maybe let's say 10. What is the value of this counter? 10. Counter is a variable. I'm writing my while loop. So it starts with a keyword called while, and then I'm writing condition. While this counter is less than 2. While this counter is less than 2. Remember last time I told you in Python, indentation is very important. Indentation is very important. Spacing. So any block you're writing, the next line when you're writing after the header part, you need to give some space. What I'm doing here is I'm writing while counter equals to 2, I'm writing a colon and enter. See what is happening? The ID is automatically leaving some space. While counter equals to 2, I'm just printing the counter value. And then what I'm doing is I'm decrementing this counter, right? Each time this loop is running, counter value will be decremented -1. And let me explain this code, but before I explain, can anybody give me answer to this question, like what will be the output of this code? Anyone? What will be the output?
It will give counter after 8 times. I mean, after running the
10
loop.
to 3 it will be.
I think
Values 10 to 3.
Yes. So what will happen here? Let me explain one by one. So I cannot write here because this Zoom is not supporting. I have to go to whiteboard. But in short, what it will do in the first run, let me tell you what is counter value. What is counter value in the first run? 10. 10 is, less than 2. No. This is true. So 10 is greater than 2. Is the condition true or false?
True.
True.
Oh.
So it will enter inside the loop. It will print the counter value. What is the counter value? 10. And then counter will become 9 here. Counter will become 9 here. Again, it will check. 9 is greater than 2. The condition is true or false? True.
True.
Print 9 and counter will become 8. 8 is greater than 2. Condition is true. Again, print 8. Counter will become 7. Like this, it will continue. Now, let's say the counter is 3. 3 is greater than 2. Condition is true. It will print 3. Counter will become 2. Now tell me, 2 is greater than 2. Is the condition is true or false?
False.
So it will not execute. If the condition is false, like 2 is greater than 2, is false. So what will happen? It will come out of the loop and it will not print anything. So till 3 it will print. If I run this, 10, 9, 8, 7 till 3. Because when it will become 2, the condition is false. So what is a while loop? While loop is a loop where the condition, until and unless the condition is true, it will execute. When the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. Okay? So that is your while loop. So this is your if else and this is your while loop. Let me repeat. While loop is something which is kind of, if the condition is false, the loop will come out of the loop until unless it will run or it will execute inside the loop. Okay. Now we will discuss about the next, that is for loop. And one more thing I just want to tell you, people who are completely beginner, they can still go to YouTube. I have seen that in YouTube, Durga sir's 10-hour Python video is there, freely available, right? People for non-coding background, especially I'm telling you, right? So I think those videos are very great. Sir has explained from very scratch. I cannot go to that level because my syllabus is different. Mostly this is data science focused. This is not Python focused, right? So we cannot go to that level and cover everything from scratch, from zero. But those videos are really fine and very good. So what you can do is this 10 hours video, if you have some time. I have seen Sir has explained about list, tuples, whatever core Python that is covered in this course. Sir has explained it. So if you are from non-coding background, I will recommend you. If you are already from coding background, then no need to do anything. You can attend just my class. Everything you will understand. Okay. And maybe for you, these things are very silly, but yes, you have to, initially you have to spend some time, maybe 1 week, just to brush up the core Python concept. Maybe next week onwards, it will be more new concept for you, like when we start NumPy and Pandas. Okay, so while loop is clear, right? Now next thing is for loop, right? So what is for loop, anyone? For loop.
And one of the condition is satisfied, then in that case, for loop will run.
So any other answer?
It is also iterative loop, but it runs for finite number of loops.
Yes. So for loop is iterative process. So we will set how many times we want to run the loop. It is user defined. So I will set until and unless, let's say this I, or basically a variable from this, I can decide how many times I want to execute the block of code that I'm writing. So in for loop, the syntax for loop is little different than what you have written in other languages. Let me first write and then I will explain. I'm going to use a new function. I think this is a completely new function called range function, right, for loop. And here I'm not going to write I plus plus, I minus minus. Rather, I will be using this range. Range has 3 parameters: starting index, ending index, and step size. Starting index is what is the first value of this I, right? From where you want to start. Let's say I want to start I from 5. I should be from 5 to 10. So 10 means I will write 11. ending index is exclusive. Means what? Whatever you're writing ending index, -1 till that it will go. So if I write 5, 11, I value will start from 5 and go till 10. So I value will be 5 to 10. Now what is step size? Step size is what is the increment or decrement value, whether you want a positive increment or negative increment. So easily you can write +1 or -1 based on what you are doing. Let's say positive increment. How many increment you want? Each iteration, first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, I should be 1, 1, 1 increment. So you will write here 1. 1 means 1, 1, 1. 2 means first time I will be 5. Second time 5 plus 2, 7. Third time 7 plus 2, 9. Like that it will increment. 1 means first time 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like that. And then I will print the I value. Let me repeat again. So for loop, we are writing for loop for iterative processes. This is called block of code, or basically the body part. How many times you want to execute this block of code or the body part? So those many times you will set here. I'm saying there is a variable called I, which is initialized to a value of 5, and it will go till 10. Each iteration, it will be incremented by 1. And then what I'm doing is in the body part, I'm just printing the value of I. So for I in the range of 5, 11, you just print the value of I. Right? So in range function, again, let me repeat 3 values: starting index, ending index, and step size. So if I want to do increment 2, 2. So I'll write 5, 11, and 2. Right? So it will be incremented 2, 2, 2. Right? So what is this happening? This is decrementing. If you want to decrement, right? If you want to decrement, so starting is 15, ending should be 10. And then you're decrementing -1. So till, I think 11 I have written. Can it go till 11? If I have written 11, till what it will? 12.
-1, 11 minus 1.
So it will not go till 11. So the before number, right? So like the next number, sorry. So if you are planning to go till 11, you will write 10 here. So it will decrement. So increment or decrement, you can write just starting and ending, you can change. And the step size you can change. That is your for loop. Any doubt in this for loop and while loop? I will discuss for loop further, but I just want to pause here for this range method. Is it clear, this range method? Any questions? Please write yes, yes if you understood this range. Is this for loop syntax is clear? Okay. One more thing is, if this for loop, okay. So if you, let's say you don't want continuous increment or continuous decrement, you want random increment and random decrement. So in that case, instead of range, you will be using another function, another structure called list. Let me give you an example. For I in list of, let's say first I value will be 3, and then I value will be 4, and then I value is 5. For all of these I values, what you're trying to do is you want to print square of that, right? What this will return? It will return square. So star means square. Right? So star means power. Let's say it's just power. And let me give you an example. So let's say 2 star 3. What is the answer? 8. Right? 2 to the power of 3. Star in Python indicates power. So 2 to the power of 3. Now if I write 3 star 2, what is the answer? 3 to the power of 2?
9.
9. So you understood that star is power. So what I want to do is, I want to find the power of 3, 4, and 5 number. 3 power, 4 power, and 5 power. I have written a for loop. Each time the loop runs, let's say this is not sequential numbers. Let's say 3, and then 1, 11, and then let's say 215. 215, 11, and 3. I just want the power 3 to the power of 3, 11 to the power of 11. 215 is a very big number. So let me make it small, right? Let's say 13 to the power of 13. So this is what I want to run. This is not sequential, right? So I just need to print it. This is not sequential. This is some random value, and you can see the answers, right? So 11 to the power of 11, 13 to the power of 13, and 3 to the power of 3. So here I cannot use range. Can I use range function here for I, increment, decrement? Answer no. Range you will use if it is continuous increment or stepwise increment or stepwise decrement. If I values, you want some different values, you can always write down inside a list. What is a list? We will discuss that later. As of now, just remember inside bracket, you write all the possible values of I that you want to use in each iteration. First iteration, I value will be 3. Second iteration, I value will be 11. And third iteration, I value will be 13. Right? Okay. So this is your for loop, and this is your while loop, and this is your if else. If else, while loop, and for loop. Is this clear, everyone? If else, while, and for.
Instead of list in the last example, can we use a tuple?
Okay, so many of you don't know what is a tuple, right? So I think we can discuss that in the next thing. But yes, any kind of data structure you can use. Set, tuple, anything, right?
I think it
Okay.
won't take any change now here.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Here it doesn't make any change in this example, tuple or list.
Yes, no change. Just you need to hold it in some data type, right? The values. Okay.
And one more question, in that earlier thing, 3 power 2, you didn't use print, but here you're using print. Will it print without the print statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is another kind of thing that we can learn, that is Python console. So this brackets. What all are these brackets? This basically shells, or this cell, basically the green color you can see, right? The border inside which there is a gray color box. That is Python, IPython cell. What is that? Interactive Python, IPython cell. You can, in simple manner, you can understand this is a Python cell where we are running the code. So this Python cell can be used as a calculator. So I think this is not possible in other languages, but in Python it supports. All the arithmetics you can do here directly. 4 plus 7, right? You'll get the answer. 4 into 7. So this console, Python console, can be useful as a calculator. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, power. A lot of things you can do using this console. Okay. Okay.
Sasmita, in the for I in range, the decrement part, can you explain the decrement part once again, because I'm a little confused when you're telling 15 and 11 and minus 1. So when the value becomes 12, right? So the end for decrement, will it increase by 1, or like I didn't get that part, like
No, it will come from reverse, right? So first value of I will be 15.
15, yeah.
This example. Second time I value will be 14. Third time 13, 12, and then 11. Can it be 10? Next time it will be 10. Can it be 10? Answer is no. Why? Because the ending index you cannot include. In range function, the ending index you cannot include. So if you will not include this ending index, what will be the last update for I? 11. So I cannot do 10. So 10 is not inclusive. So if I want to take it till 10, what I will write? If I want to take
9.
9, I have to write. Because 9 is not included. So till 10, it will decrement. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So here is the from where you want to start till what you want to decrement. In starting this, sorry, in decrement, the starting index is greater than the ending index or smaller than? When you are decrementing, the starting index should be greater than the ending index, or it is greater than, right? Then only you can decrement.
Yeah, true.
That's what we are doing. So starting, ending, and decrement.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I think these all loops and functions, we will have certain questions which we can practice. Okay. So we understood about if else, we understood about while, we understood about for loop. Next thing that we will discuss is called function. Right? So any idea what is a function?
A set of code already written and
Set a block of code to perform a particular task.
Function is a block of code to perform a particular task, basically useful for code reusability. Once I have written a code, I no need to repeat the code again and again. I will give you an example, right? Let's say I will tell you to write a logic, right? Let's say the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Write a logic to find the greatest number. What you will do? The greatest number. You cannot use any great or any function, just simple logic. What you will do? If else, you will check first number. You will store it in some value data type. One by one index, or if this is little difficult, let me give you one more example. Let's say sum of two numbers, right? So let's say this is what you want to write. So we'll ask the user, let's say A equals to 20 and B equals to 30. Sum means what? You will just write print.
A plus.
Simple. Sum of two numbers you have written. Now I will tell you in this way. Sum of 20 and 30. So you have written this. Now again, if I will tell you, let's say you have to find the sum of not 20 and 30. You have to find the sum of 200 and 300. What you will do is the code is changing. Same code you will copy. You will paste, change your 200 and change your 300. Again, if I tell you not sum of 200 and 300, let's say this time I want the sum of, let's say 2000 and 3000. What you will do? Again, you will copy this code and then you will again paste it. And instead of 200, you will write 2000 and 3000. So don't you think the logic is same, only the numbers are different? What we logic is same, the numbers are different. But how many times I have repeated print 3 times. A equals to 20, A equals to 30, and then B equals to 30, A equals to 200. Multiple times same code I'm repeating. This is the problem if you don't use function, right? This is called code reusability. Some of the common code, right? You can write it inside a function instead of you repeating. Let's say there is a code to connect with the database, okay, which will take the username, password and connect with the database. Like in a team, there are 10 people who are using, who are going to extract data from the database. Either you write, either me write, or either anyone else is writing the code. Connection to database Python code is same, isn't it? Connecting to the database. If the database is same, what you need to put is only the username, password will be different. The code will be same. Why can't you write the code inside a block of code, and whoever wants to access the database just need to pass the information, username and password, and they can connect. So similar way, function is something, from this example you can understand, it's a block of common code. Take the common code and write it inside a block. Whenever whoever wants it, let them use it. How I can write a function for it? There are two parts. First, I will define my function inside the definition block. DEF followed by the function name. Let's say add function or add number function. Right? Inside this, I will write, let me write, then I will explain. I told you any block, you need to give colon. And then what I'm doing here is simply printing A plus B. See, let me repeat. So this is the logic. Multiple times, same thing I'm repeating. So what I'm doing is I'm writing a function for it. So there are two parts in a function. Function definition, inside which you will write the logic of that function, right? And function call, where you will call that function. How to define a function? So DEF followed by the function name, within bracket, you write the parameters. Here I have two parameters, A and B. So I'm just writing A and B. And the logic, what you want to do, the body part, print A and B. So this is done. So now I will call this function. So what I will do is I will call, for example, somebody told me to find the sum of 20, 30. No need to repeat the logic again. I have already written the logic. Simply I will call it. Add number 20, 30. A will be replaced with 20. B will be replaced with 30. Print will print the output. I want to add 2000, 3000 or 200, 300. Am I writing again? No, simply calling. Whatever you want, you just can simply call the function, just change the A and B value. So this particular function will take two input and return the sum of those two numbers. So the first part, cell number 36, is called function definition, and rest all you are calling the function. You can define the function only once, and you can call the function multiple times whenever you need it. Is the function logic is clear? Any questions? Is it
So if
clear?
you want to return a value from add number, like should we specify the data type or is it not needed?
No, in Python, no need to specify data type. It is dynamically typed. So the data type of the variable is decided by the interpreter. As a user, you no need to define anything. So I'm not
Okay.
write int A, int B, right? Int A plus B. So it will automatically taken care by the interpreter.
So directly it will be just return A plus B, right? In
Yes.
case I want to return.
So it will print actually. If you want to return, there is a return statement. You can write return. Just want to return A plus B. So in this case, it will not print, right? It is just showing you, but if you want to store this value, assign a variable, let's say result. So what result will hold? Whatever it is returning, that will be stored inside result. So result will be holding the value that is returned by the function, that is 50. For later use, you can use this result. Right? Okay. Others, is it clear?
So if there is if else statements within add number and one returns string, one returns integer, one returns float, then will it give a compilation?
Yeah, you can return multiple things. 2, 3 variables at a time you can return.
Mhm.
Plus B. Yeah.
Ma'am, please give with example.
Example of what? Function. Okay. So I think this is one example. We'll see some more example later. We'll do some assignment. Again, let me repeat. People who are from non-coding background, please finish the 10-hour series from Durga sir from YouTube as soon as possible and confirm your enrollment. So you should not wait. Others also should not wait because the batch is already started. You have already attended 1 or 2 classes. So if it is good, you can go ahead and confirm your registration so that we can move forward. So otherwise things will be, because it is started, right? Assignments and other things when I will upload. If you not complete your assignment of this week, that will be pending for next week. Then next week, again, new topics will start. Those assignment again, when you will complete. So my suggestion is, if you think you are from non-coding background, please complete the 10-hour YouTube series, right?
Ma'am, I got the video. Actually, I have paid the enroll. I have enrolled this course. I have got the Durga sir video. It's like 117 hours of video.
No.
Okay.
Let me tell you.
So
So
I
yes. Yeah.
should
Let
I go
tell
with
you.
10 hours? Yeah, ma'am.
No. Let me tell you. So no need to go for 170 hour. You can see the topics, right? At least topics you are understanding, right? In my class. Is the topics are here? What all?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, you
Yes.
have told me, you have told us that before going to any topic, one day before I will tell you to go with that particular function. So, ma'am, one day before, if we
Correct.
going to
One
yeah,
second. So no need me to tell you, open the syllabus. We are actually following exactly the syllabus. If you open the full stack syllabus, right?
yeah, ma'am.
Don't know if you have that or not, but if you kind of check the full stack syllabus, right? Let me tell you. So you, everyone, you yourself can check before you join the class. You can check what I'm going to cover. It will be in very sequence order. Based on the syllabus only we are covering. Where is that? 1 second. Yes. So if you see the syllabus, we are in a very sequential order. Where we are? Python installation, Jupyter tutorial, variable functions, right? So tomorrow what we will cover? Loops we have covered. Lambda expression is there. We will see that. I think operators are missing. We'll see that as well. And then basically these are the topics. Not for tomorrow, but maybe eventually we'll go there. So you understood everything is syllabus. We are following line by line, word by word. And there will be assignment, coding test, everything in sequence. So you just open the syllabus and those topics only you read or you go through Durga's recording, not everything.
Okay, it is of like 10 hours, no?
Actually, I have seen that videos, but out of the 10 hours, I think only 2 hours is only theory, history of Python. So you can skip those parts.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So start from your variable concept. History, I think, is not required. Just one.
Yes, ma'am.
Remember 1991, February 20, first release of Python. Guido van Rossum is the person. 1980 he started, but publicly released. That's enough.
Yes, ma'am.
Going to ask you any question from history, so you can leave it. From variable start. Variable, function, loops, list, tuple. So you can fast forward that videos from variable, functions. All of this you can see.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so this is all about your function. We have discussed 3 things today: for loop, while loop, and function. Any questions? We are all good?
Yes.
Okay. So lambda expression is the next topic, but I will pause here. I'm going slow because why I'm going slow? Because the reason is many of you are kind of new. So I just have to go slow. But I think I will suggest you to enroll as soon as possible and confirm your registration so that we can freeze the demo links, right? And then we can go ahead with the original link and we can move little faster. Okay. Any other questions? We are all good. Tomorrow I will give you some questions to practice. So make sure your Python is installed. If not today, you install Python. Any IDE you can use. No problem in IDE. Jupyter, Spider, VS Code, PyCharm, whatever you want, you can use it. I will upload the documents how to install in the drive so that you can follow and do it. If you are using Anaconda, no need to do any other thing. Anaconda itself will install Jupyter Notebook. Just open and start typing. And this is the run button. If you click on this run, this will execute the commands. And the Jupyter Notebook tutorial also I will upload. 1 hour tutorial, complete from scratch to very advanced. Everything is there. How to create nice documents, everything, how to add headers, how to add hyperlinks, how to add images, videos, how to execute, how to download, how to upload, everything you will understand about Jupyter Notebook if you have seen that video. Right?
Shashmita, Ram here.
Here, Ram.
Is Python is interpreter based language?
Yes.
It's not a Which one is best one? Compiler based or interpreter based?
Interpreter based. No, it's
Why?
not best one, but Python is interpreter based language. Which is best one? Mostly compiler based language. So that's what. So if you want to understand from that level, like what is high level, what is low level, what is interpreter, what is compiler, programming basis, please see YouTube video of Durga sir 10 hour and confirm your enrollment and see the Python recordings from Durga sir. He has described everything because that's a Python class, right? Major topic was Python there.
Yeah. I'm a programming background, but I want to know, so that's why I'm asking you. Okay, I will. And here, every time it is creating a new cell now. Python cell. Can't we write total code in a single cell?
Correct. You can write everything in one cell. You can split it. For example, here if you see, right, multiple lines of code I have written. So what you want to write, it's up to you. Everything in one cell. You want to divide your code into multiple cells. So you can write it. So it's not like one by one. It will exist one by one cell, but it's user choice how you want to write. So I will tell you. So there are few things which is lacking. So that's what I'm saying. If you delay your registration, things will little bit complicated for you. Why? Because we already started the content. First thing you need to see is Python installation, right? You have to install Anaconda Python. That is very, very mandatory step, prerequisite. After that, you need to see Jupyter tutorial. This is the next thing you need. This is a sequence for all the beginners, how to learn about all of these things. Third thing that you need to understand is if you are from non-coding background, Durga sir's recording. If you're from coding background, no need to do anything. After Python and Jupyter, my videos, at least you attend the classes, 100% you will understand. Then you see my notes, whatever we have discussed. So before you see my notes, these two are required. You need to do this, Jupyter and Python. And if you're from non-coding background, every day, not only this only one class, every day before you join the class, go to Python recordings of Durga sir and see those topics beforehand. Because that is a Python class, sir has explained everything from scratch. Once the Python is done, then it starts to machine learning and statistics. If you are thinking you are from very beginner level or topics are complicated, please see the recordings beforehand. You join the class. So when you see the recordings, 20-30% you will understand. When you join the class, 100% you will understand. Right? Is it clear for everyone? This is little complicated topic. So you have to give some extra hours, especially for people who are from non-coding. And this is not only here, everywhere you join. So you will face difficulty if you don't know programming.
Ma'am, we had received a previous video recording, like 4 video. In that, only introduction was there. Ma'am, I have watched the all video, 4 video I have received in Drive. So I have watched that video. It is only like introduction there in that.
I'm not sure what has been shared. I will check with ma'am once.
Yes, ma'am, please. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, madam. I was also looking for the link actually for your previous class recordings.
Okay. So once your registration is confirmed, you will be added to previous class Drive. I will update ma'am.
Yeah, I have already registered. Yeah.
I will update ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So
Shashmita, when will your morning batch start?
morning batch will start end of, what is the date today? I think 15 days class is there for the morning batch. End of this month or maybe after, yes, end of this month we will announce around November 25.
So what will be the timings for those?
7 to 8.
Okay.
Morning 7 to 8. So after 10 days, we'll be starting morning. But again, I will suggest you to join this batch. Why? Because this is already continuation. We already are in content. There it will be first week will be demo. So then we will go for content. So you can expect December first week onwards, we will start content. November 20, we will start the batch, but initial 5 to 10 days, it will be demo session, installation, all of these things we will continue.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Shashmita.
And easily you can switch, like if you have joined this 9 p.m. So I'm telling for basically people who want to finish this in fast track batch, or basically you are smart enough to handle many things yourself. And what you can do is just enroll and take the whole recording. And then you can kind of complete the syllabus, whatever pace you want, and join the live classes for doubt clearing. Any doubts you can ask, right? That way also you can. So there are a lot of options. If you don't want to join live, only recording is sufficient. You can take recordings also. We have recordings available, only recordings, but there will be no doubt clearance, right? So I think it is a little difficult if you are very beginner. Okay.
Okay, Shashmita. Thank you.
Everything will be uploaded in Box. Everything will be uploaded in Box, right? Sorry, not Box. I just came from my office. I just logged out. It is coming Box. So basically we use Box, right, in office. It will be uploaded in Google Drive.
Okay, ma'am.
You can access from there. Others you can drop anything related to, I think if you are today is the first class, see the recordings again from YouTube. Everything is available in YouTube. Just type full stack data science Asmita. You will see a lot of videos. In your part, you can click and see the demo sessions. And the syllabus, everything is there. After you attend the demo sessions, I think rest all thing you can join the live class to understand.
Madam,
Please go on mute everyone. Yeah.
madam, what about the job aspects after finishing this course? Means what is the job aspects of those?
We
who
already
finished?
discussed all of those things in the demo sessions.
No, I'm asking about those who have finished in this, your course, previous batches.
See, not previous batch, this batch, for everyone, the scope is same. That is data science. You can apply for data scientist level, initial 2 to 3 years. If you complete SQL, along with this, if you can complete SQL like little in depth, you can also apply for data analysis, data analyst kind of jobs. Data analyst you can apply for, data scientist roles you can apply for, right? This is suitable for data analyst and data scientist positions. Okay. Initial 2 to 3 years experience you can show. Okay.
Now, what I'm asking is that do we get any kind of reference from the institute or from your side?
See, I can forward your CVs based on whatever link I have. Having said that, institute side, I don't know. From my own side, I can share your CVs, or maybe I can update you if any openings are there. But
Okay.
yeah, in that level, I can help you. But it's not a guaranteed kind of thing. And no,
Yeah.
yeah.
At least
And
something from your side. Is it possible? That's what I'm saying.
yes, you can connect with me through LinkedIn, and definitely I can forward many of my previous old batch student. I have referred them in my organization and other startups and all, and many of them has also are working as Volvo. And one of my student has joined it as a data scientist, and he just pinged me. He has some opening in his company, so they are hiring for other data scientists. So we have a network. So through that, I can help you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. If not me, maybe many of my students, they have any openings, I can forward your CVs to them. Okay. So what we can do is we will connect tomorrow. We will continue, right? From here. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam, class will be Monday to Thursday only, na?
Correct. Monday to Thursday.
Ma'am, tomorrow what topic going to start it so that I will watch video today?
We will start basically the data structure part. List, we will start list.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so others actually, if whoever joined today is the first class, please see the demo recordings. In short, the course fees is 16,000. Monday to Thursday is the timing. Total 40 hours of course. Along with that, you're going to get 20 hours of recording from my side, 60 to 65 hours, 170 hours of Durga Sir's Python recording you will be getting. So in total, it is 220-hour course, apart from your assignments, projects, and everything that you will practice yourself. 15 projects and lot of assignments you will be getting. Coming to the other aspect, placement assistance and your certification. Placement assistant and certification has no, so placement is different, certification has zero value, right? You have completed your course from Durgasoft. So the interviewer, if he is from US or UK or maybe Mumbai or Delhi or any other location, even if from Bangalore, most of the people will not be knowing what is Durgasoft, right? Or let's say you passed from other institute. There are hundreds, lakhs of institutes nowadays who are providing data science course. What is the value or validation of their certificates? Until unless you have a full-time degree, like masters or something like that from a renowned institute, tier 1 institute like IITs, NITs or IIIT, something like that, your degree has no value. Part-time degrees also they're not considering. Like many people I have seen in LinkedIn, they have updated, passed out from BITS Pilani, passed out from this, let's say IIM Bangalore. It's actually not a full-time course. They have done part-time courses, 1 year PG diploma and all. Yes, definitely that carries some weightage. Having said that, that is not equivalent to full-time degree. Full-time degree is a full-time degree. You're going to do your research under a professor. You have to show your CGPA. You have to publish your paper. So that's a lot more thing you will learn there. You will have semesters. You will have 2 years complete dedicated to research. And anybody by giving 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs cannot buy a certificate. It will be merit selection with your GATE score, valid 99.9, like that percentile. If you get, you will get a seat. So obviously it is much more valuable than your part-time. Having said that, all of these things will give you a lot of knowledge. Certification wise, if you are asking me, it has some value, but it's not worth it. Like the money you are paying and the certification that you're showing, don't think that certification has equivalent value of full-time degree. No, you can write it, but when it comes to your validation, background verification, till your school level, they're checking. When I have joined one of the investment bank, they literally went to my home to check my address. So when a person can go to your home to check your address, don't you think they will validate your certificates, isn't it? So full-time degree is a full-time degree, part-time is a part-time degree, right? So only knowledge you will get, definitely high level knowledge, because like the professors are from IITs there. But having said that, the certificate has not that equivalent weightage of a full-time. Is it clear about certification, everyone? So they are just fooling you. I'm telling you from my real-time experience. We are hiring, right? We are real-time data scientists. So we all 40 members in my company have full-time master's degree. We have completed MTech from tier 1 colleges, and then we got placed. So nobody has part-time. If they have part-time, that is perfectly fine. If you can justify your skill sets, if it is matching with the JD, if you are very, very strong in the interview, even though you are from BTech background with some software experience, they will consider you. Having said that, if you are thinking by joining those courses, by showing those certificates, you can match the standard of a full-time degree, that is not acceptable. At least for product-based good companies, I'm saying. I'm not sure about actually every company, right? Every company has, you see the JD yourself. Everyone today, you go to Naukri, if you don't believe me, download the JD for data science, any JD. Have you seen that? They have written PhD or MTech degree. Have you seen this line, anyone? Have you seen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we have
Yes.
seen.
If you have not seen, today you see it. So when they're very clearly saying that in the JD only, they're saying PhD or MTech degree from tier 1 colleges, how you think those certificate will solve your purpose? Obviously not. So certification has no validation. So either here or anywhere, or upgrade or great learning, or I don't want to name it, but any institute certification has zero value as compared to equivalent. Now it is not a hopeless thing for you. With BTech also you can match by kind of having an extraordinary high level of knowledge. If you can manage, or if you're skilled enough, definitely you can crack the interviews. You show 2-3 years of experience by working, by doing lot of projects, practicing yourself from Kaggle and other platforms. And then with that, you can actually match those gaps. I hope everyone is clear about certification. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Madam, I have one query. Can I ask?
Actually, yes. This is the last question I'm taking. Yeah.
Madam, that tier 1 college degree from non-IT background, does it makes any added advantage if you do this course with that?
See, degree, I don't know. They have some, I think now trend is little changing, but in India, they really prefer educational background. So I have seen many of my students who are from, who have done their MTech from IITs, very, very different. This is not related to, not at all related, like aeronautical engineering, like some petroleum engineering, something like that.
Yes, I am also from non-IT, but from
Correct.
tier 1 college. But
Yes.
is this certificate will add to that means with the college brand?
So if you have a college brand, I think your JD has, sorry, your profile has some weightage. I have seen many of my friends who have a college brand from IT and NIT, and they have cracked interviews. So that college brand has value, at least in data science, I can tell you, for data science related jobs, right?
Okay, okay.
Tier 1 college, even if it is from relevant,
Non-IT.
correct, not relevant field, not IT fields, you can take that advantage, write it, and definitely you can kind of get some advantage over your brand name, right? Having said that, I have seen, but yes, one more thing is there is a skill gap. So how many are there from tier 1, right? There are hundreds, lakhs of openings, and there are hardly anyone from tier 1. So they have lot of openings and very few resources from the brand name. What if that brand, let's say someone is from IIT but doesn't know anything about the topics, right? Are you getting? So even though they're IITs, maybe initial screening will be done, like shortlisting will be done. In the interview, they will be failing. So nowadays, HRs and other interviewers are really preferring people who are skilled enough, irrespective of their background, right? Brand will only help you for shortlisting. Interview,
Okay.
performance matters. How you are performing, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you everyone. We'll connect tomorrow.